Welcome back. As sorrow continues for the loss of Pope Francis, preparations are underway for the conclave to pick the next pope.
It's a centuries-old ritual. The Cardinals will enter the Sistine Chapel sealed inside while they vote in silence. NBC News' Ann Thompson spoke to an American archbishop who has taken part in electing a pope.
She shows us the tradition of how a pope is chosen.
It is quite possibly the most solemn and dramatic moment in an institution that knows solemn and dramatic.
Habemus Papam.
But how they get to that moment of we have a pope is one of the great mysteries of the Catholic Church. The election of the next leader of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics is called a conclave, from the Latin with a key. Cardinals locked away inside the Sistine Chapel with no electronics, not even handwritten notes, making their decision under the watchful gaze of Michelangelo's Renaissance-era frescoes.
You know what a high responsibility it is.
New York's Archbishop Cardinal Timothy Dolan was one of the men behind those doors at the last conclave in 2013. He vividly recalls what the cardinal electors were told by the preacher of the papal household.
As he looked out at us, he said, "The Holy Spirit has chosen the next pope. Your job is simple, find out who it is."
What does that mean, to make room for the Holy Spirit?
I don't say, "Holy Spirit, would you please point out to me who I should vote for?" No.
Now, the run-up to the conclave may seem like the Catholic version of the presidential primaries. Cardinals under the age of 80 are called to Rome, many meeting each other for the first time.
You don't want to go in without your glasses. You want to kind of know your brother cardinals.
That happens in meetings where they listen to each other's speeches and in more informal settings as well. The masses celebrated by potential candidates are covered like political rallies, but the stakes are spiritual.
I don't want you to think this is Iowa caucus, like we're inviting potential candidates. We're more kind of inviting noted leaders in the different churches to ask them about issues, about their observations on the state of the church.
It's considered very unseemly to openly campaign for the throne of St. Peter. There's a saying, he who enters the conclave a pope leaves a cardinal. But that doesn't stop the media and other observers from trying to handicap the horse race.
When it comes time to make a decision, they're going to be listening to each other more than they're listening, frankly, to us or to anyone like us.
Then it is up to the 120 or so cardinals who are cut no slack by Vatican security, surrendering all their technology and human help at check-in to the hotel within the walls.
As they're done and say, "Eminence, you can enter," my helpful secretary, Father Jim Cruz, picked up my luggage and started to walk in, whereupon the tip of a spear of a Swiss guard stopped him. Now that's how serious they are.
The window shades of the rooms where the cardinals stay are nailed shut, the phones cut off.
When Pope Benedict XVI was elected, a new floor was laid in the Sistine Chapel, and all sorts of electronic jamming equipment was installed under this false floor to protect anyone from sneaking in, as it were, to the conclave.
At the appointed hour, the cardinals process to the Sistine Chapel, singing in Latin, when all have taken a sacred oath of secrecy.
Et haec sancta Dei Evangelia quae manu mea tango.
The master of papal liturgical ceremonies calls out extra omnes.
Extra omnes.
Latin for everyone out. Inside, Cardinal Dolan says there are no speeches, just prayer and voting. 4 rounds by secret ballot every day until one name receives a 2/3 majority.
A ballot would take about 2 hours, as each cardinal would go up one by one. So it is very much silence.
Outside, the smoke watch begins, the only sign of what's happening inside. Twice a day, the cardinals burn the ballots. Black smoke means no pope has been elected. But when white smoke pours from the chimney, the cardinals' job is done. Now it's up to history and God to judge how they did. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Well, in 2013, it took 5 ballots to elect Pope Francis. Both Francis and Pope Benedict XVI were selected after 2 days.
And so this conclave is set to pick the next pope to begin on May 7th. So, of course, we'll be covering all of that. Isn't it fascinating? We'll be right back.